This is a tutorial that teaches how to trim music for assignment 1. Now remember, assignment 1, you need to have a video that lasts from between a minute and a half and 2 minutes. So you're going to need to trim your music so that it's between 1.5 to 2 minutes long. The first thing we have to do is import like usual. So we go here. I have a pure sound file, but what I'm about to show you will also work if you have a sound file that's attached to video as well. I'm going to go to the Village soundtrack, and this Village soundtrack, when I import it, will load up in my project window. At this point, I'm going to go to the icon to the left of the Village. There's a little icon, and I'm going to double click on this, and it will load up in the source window. Now the reason why I want it to load up in the source window is for everyone to have the same procedure. At this point, if you were to have a video and audio together and you just wanted the audio, the same thing would work, but you wouldn't see a waveform here. Instead, you would see a video clip. In either case, if you look down here, you will see something that looks like a speaker, and if you hover over it, it says drag audio only. And that is the way to strip the audio from the visual element. If you had something that had video as well, you'd see a film strip as well, but in both cases, for this project and for the sound, you're going to hover over this element right here. Drag over this element and then drop it into the timeline. Alright. Now we have to figure out how long this is to see if maybe this is the right length. So I take my playhead and I drag it to the end. And when I drag it to the end, I read right here with these yellow numbers. And the way this works is the first numbers on the right are frames. So here it's 17 frames. The second set of numbers is 41 seconds. The third set of numbers are minutes. And the last set of numbers is hours. So if you were to look at this time code, it's 4 minutes, 41 seconds, and 17 frames. So that's clearly too long for us to work with. So we're going to have to trim it in the timeline. Since this is just audio, the way to trim it in the timeline is to give us a lot more space to work with in the timeline. So I'm going to drag between the timeline and the source window and the monitor window. I'm going to drag that up. The other thing I'm going to do is I don't need any of the video, so I'm going to hover between the layers and drag up, so it's pretty much all audio. And I'm also going to drag down to make those waveforms longer. See, I'm going to drag between audio level 1, which is where the sound is, and audio level 2, which doesn't have anything. So I can drag down. And now I have a great look at the waveform. It's very clear to me now. And so I'm going to play this. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you, but I'm going to play a little bit. Here we go. I'm going to increase the sound. So first of all, it's taking a while to get going. Okay. So I've listened to this before, so I'm going to skip ahead. There's some nice riffs here. The actual theme starts right around here. Okay. Now, when I skip over here, after a while, there's a lot of mood music at the end. I think for this, I'm going to want the theme mostly. So I'm probably going to X out of a lot of this. So I'm going to have to figure out where the end of the frame. If I look here, I'm at 2 minutes and 39 seconds. That's still too long at this point. Let's see if I'm here. All Alright, so right around there, the theme starts to peter out, and then it goes into this mood music over here. So I think the first thing I want to do is just cut out that transition, and I want to cut it out as close to the beginning of the transition as possible. So notice I went down here and I expanded the clip so that I have a little bit more space to work in. See that sound right there? That's about where I want to cut it. So I'm going to cut it here. I grab my cut tool from the toolbar, give it a cut, and then I'm going to go to the selection tool, select the area I don't want, and hit delete. Alright, so that's the end of the clip. And I probably want to fade that out, which I'll show you how to do later. The next thing I want to do is scroll back. I'm going to make it smaller, the whole timeline smaller, so I can see the whole thing. And notice at the beginning there was a lot of empty space, which I don't need, and there seems to be this repeated violin riff, and maybe I don't want the whole thing. I'm going to see if it makes sense for me to zip in where that changes. Do you hear that change? I'm going to try a cut right there. And what I'm going to do is select the beginning, and because what I want to have happen is I want to not only delete but push everything over, I'm going to hit the Option key and the Delete key simultaneously, and that brings everything to the beginning. So this is what I have so far. Let me try that. Maybe I want that note right there. Maybe that's where I want it to start. That kind of has a logical beginning. I'm going to expand out a lot just to make sure I see where that is. I see that waveform here. I suspect it's right there. Okay. Right around there. So again, I'm going to grab my razor tool or hit C on the keyboard, cut there, then hit the selection tool or hit V on the keyboard, select the area I want to delete, hit the Option key and the Delete key. Let me see. Maybe I like that better. I hear a spot here that seems to be a little bit more to my liking. I'm going to cut there. And this is a matter of taste, but you want to have it at a place where you don't feel like you're right in the middle of something. Okay, let's try that. Alright, so we have a beginning and an end. Let's see how long it is. It's plenty long. It ends right there at 1:45. Now, I find that the beginning and the end, I don't want to... Right now, if you listen, and it just ends kind of violently. And the beginning also sounds like it's ending a little fast. So I want to taper in and taper out. The way that you're going to do that is through this yellow line. If you'll notice this yellow line that goes through the middle of the two waveforms, that represents the volume level. And we can actually take this tool called the pen tool and adjust the volume level so that it goes up at the beginning and then tapers off at the end. You're going to need to use this pen tool and put actually 4 keyframes. And keyframes are just places that allow you to manipulate. Now the reason why you need 4 is you need to maintain the level in the middle while dropping them on either end. So this enables us to grab one end with the pen tool or with the selection tool and click, drag down. Do the same thing on the other side, click, drag down, and let's see what that sounds like. Okay, that sounds pretty good at the beginning. Let's check the end. And you have that piano riff. That tapers off gently. Now, if you're planning on editing your video right onto this sound, then you're pretty much set right here. And if you don't want to move the sound around at all, then you'd go to this checkbox and click here, and that locks everything into place, allowing you to move video, which I will talk about later.